Hello and welcome to another stocks update. Today we want to talk about Biontech. Biontech is a stock which is now coming into a support area. It's not a high quality setup, I would say, but I know a lot of people are interested in Biontech. The thing is though, this chart, despite a very, very strong uptrend into the 2021 highs, yep, it's looking like it's coming down in a corrective fashion, but the initial move up was okay. It was a, you could say, impulsive looking increase, but it was actually not an impulse. So as an Elliott wave analyst or trader, we're always looking for impulses, ideally to the upside, but there is no impulse. This looks like a WXY structure, which moves in messy corrective structures on the way to the way down as well. Yeah, so moving up in corrective waves, moving down in corrective waves, not great, but the trend seems to be up still. So looking at the bigger picture, what I could imagine is happening is that this is a larger A wave. We're now moving down in a larger B wave and could then rally in a C wave. It doesn't give us the quality, of a setup though, as an impulse would. If this was a 5-wave move to the upside, a proper impulse, it would be much clearer. If we see 3 waves up, 3 waves down on a lifetime chart, long-term chart, it could turn into anything. It could turn into a triangle, it could turn into a large ABC and whatever. It could even turn into a large diagonal eventually. We don't know. It doesn't matter for short-term trading though, but I would be careful with really long-term investments just purely based on chart analysis on a chart like that, because it means that this is a chart that needs to be monitored all the time. Okay, so this is not like a solid uptrend long-term. It's a very shaky uptrend, not a very strong foundation. But still, I think there is decent potential once this correction is over. And most of this correction is probably over. Most of it though, yeah, but not all of it. So I think as soon as this is over, there is a potential for substantial price increases in wave C to the upside. But I think it still has the potential to drop around maybe 30 to 40% before it's doing that. So looking at chart analysis at the chart itself, so we have this A wave top in 2021, and price topped at around $470. The move down looks like a correction. Why is that? Because this initial move down is a 3-wave move, as you can see. So I've labeled that as an ABC structure, which bottomed around the 8th of March. Well, it's in March 22. Okay, so this could be either an ABC structure in the white count, which would then complete an A wave, or it's an ABC structure in the yellow count, which is just a different way of looking at it, would be the alternative, in which it's a wave W, which is part of a more complex correction. The only difference between the two is that in the WXY structure, in the yellow count, we might finish the correction a little earlier than in the white count. And I will explain why. Then after this swing low that formed in March 22 at around $121, we've seen a corrective rally into the December highs 22, and it topped here locally at around $189. And that would be either the wave B in the white count or the X wave in the yellow count. And now we're coming down. So the price is clearly moving down in a local downtrend, lower lows, lower highs. In the white count, this here would be an ending diagonal. It's clearly not impulsive, but we can identify an ending diagonal potentially, in which the wave 1 was a 3-wave move, in which the wave 2 was a 3-wave move. Consequently, the wave 3 would need to be a 3-wave move, and we have here, and I go to the daily chart now. Let me shift that. And we have now in this 3rd wave an A wave completed. You see how this is a 3-wave move as well. So it can't be impulsive down at all. 3 waves up. So it's likely that the C wave down possibly started. And the assumption would be that this is what's unfolding as long as the last swing high is holding. So the price stays below $115.30. And next support is $83.10, and below that $66.40. And this C wave, I mean, if we just look at this C wave, assuming the B wave is topped, target for the C wave would be, well, between, $80.72 and $70.50 possibly. Can always go a little longer. Yeah. And then as soon as the 3rd wave is finished, we should see a 4th wave and a 5th wave. And it's possible that in wave C of 3, we've seen here a small 1-2 setup, and it's coming down like that. It's a bit too early to say that. That would be a potential. But we have to technically give it space to recover to $114.70, $114.80, that B wave high of wave 3, if it needs to recover a little bit. Only above that level, I would have to change the micro count. And yeah, we would get a wave 3 completed, 4-5. The 100% extension level of the initial A wave down points towards $50. So that would be a key target, actually, a key projection for the end of this correction. In the alternative scenario, it's slightly different because we're dealing with a WXY structure. So instead of the A wave down, which bottomed in May last year, this would be a, so instead of the wave 1 down, this would be an A wave down in the yellow count, and the B wave rally, which topped then in August 23. And we're coming down in the C wave, so it's a slightly different count in which we would say, okay, this was the wave 1, this was the wave 2, and we get 3, 4, 5. And then we might not get that last 4-5 pattern, okay? So is that clear? So the WXY structure would finish a little earlier. We might not get that last 4-5 pattern. Is it a high quality count? No. Is it a high probability count? Not necessarily, but the trend is clearly down. It makes sense to count it like that. We haven't reached the target range, and ideally we get to $66.40 and below. Yeah, and I would need to change my perspective on the micro level if there is a break above that. What was it? Basically $114.70 level, and the break above this swing high from September last year at $126 would require a larger reinterpretation. But for now, the focus is on lower prices. And yeah, and there is, if we go to really the micro count, microstructure, it is absolutely possible that, as I said, the C wave is unfolding, and this here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pretty good reward to risk against this swing high, I would say, this wave 2 high, even though it could easily peak above that, maybe just sort of restart that wave 3 of C later. But yeah, it's possible that this C wave is unfolding, and obviously within the C wave, the third wave, okay? So that's sort of how I see the chart. So that means, in summary, the price is probably still going to go a little lower. Not finished, could still drop down to possibly $66 or $49.95, so $50 basically, before a more substantial recovery can begin. Can I give you targets? Not really, but we can make some projections. Just assume the B wave finishes around $50. Then we get the next key upside targets and resistances around all-time high territory, $470, $867, and then $1,800. It doesn't make any sense to focus on these targets. Yeah, we first need to see if the correction finishes, and then they are only mathematical projections, and we have to take it level by level, have to see if the correction finishes, and once we have the first 1-2 setup of wave C, we can calculate targets more precisely. That's my update about Biontech. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in daily updates about the S&P 500, as well as regular updates about stocks, then feel free to check out the Stocks and S&P 500 service. You'll find a link in the description. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.